Hello lovely people and welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be playing with the second Blitz Astral Quad I picked up from Pat McGrath from her Opulence collection for Holidays 2019, and that is Ritualistic Rose, which looks like this. That is the outer packaging, and that is the eyeshadow quad that contains the like sort of pinkly purpley color story. I'm going to leave all the thoughts that I have about this palette and the comparison swatches for the end of the video. I'm not going to waste your time too much now with unnecessary introductions. I'm just going to jump into the demos. So this is my first time digging into the Ritualistic Rose Blitz Astral Quad from Pat McGrath. I'm really excited about it. This is the one that comes in the light salmon pink packaging and it has all the pinkish colors in it. So the first thing we're going to do once again is just do the swatches. So I'm just going to do finger swatches of all the 4 eyeshadows, and then we're going to proceed to do a look. Okay, let's start with the one that I'm probably going to be the least excited about, the one that I'm the most excited about, the second one I'm the most excited about, and the one that I think I will like, but it won't be anything. Whoa! Okay. So this is how they're... Sorry, I'm looking here in the mirror so that I can see them as well, because I don't have a viewfinder, so I can't really see what's going on my finger, so I'm just looking in the mirror in front of me. They look pretty. Alright, let's swatch them. So this is the light gold shade, the pink with gold duochrome. Oh, this one is beautiful. Oh, this one is so gorgeous. Whoa! And the bronzy brown, which of course is smooth and delicious and gorgeous. For the first look, I think I'm going to focus on the purpley pink shades over here, because I'm wearing this purple sweater. It only makes sense that I do something in this color family. So I think I'm going to dip into this eyeshadow and apply it on my maybe most of my lid and blend it out into the crease to see how that works out, because it is one of her more glittery shades, so I'm not sure it will work out, but I want to just stick to the quad, so let's just try it out. I am going to grab a blending brush. This one is from Zoeva. It is the 228 big blender, and I'm going to start packing that on here in the outer corner and see whether I can blend it out up in my crease. I'm probably going to go for a very soft look today, so nothing very intense on the outer corner. I'm going to pack it on as well on the lid, for now subtly. I just want to, you know, play to see how these eyeshadows perform for different purposes, just for my own understanding. Now you see, this is like a very nice wash of color. Now I definitely want to intensify the color that we put down in the outer corner, so I'm going to take Pixie Epoxy from Firini, which is a glitter glue, and I'm going to apply the tiniest amount of that, just using my finger, all over the lid and inner corner. Then I'm going to use my finger and go into the purple, blue, burgundy shade and pop that on most of my lid basically, and the outer corner as well, and you can see how much more intense it becomes over the glitter glue, and when you apply it more concentrated with your finger, of course, and not with a blending brush. This is such a beautiful shade. I'm actually curious whether I can intensify my inner corners just a tiny bit by using the bronzy brown shade. So I'm going to grab a little pencil brush here, and I'm just going to concentrate this here on the outer part of the eye to see whether I can just give slightly more dimension to my outer corners. Nothing too insane, just the tiniest bit. And then grab my blending brush and give that a whirl. I actually feel like there is a little bit more depth once I add this bronzy shade. I'm going to clean off the pencil brush on which I had the brown shade, and I am going to go into the gorgeous, gorgeous duochrome shade here, the pink gold duochrome, and I'm going to apply that in the inner part of my eye and my inner corners. That is so pretty. On my lower lash line, I'm going to apply this Neve Cosmetics eye pencil in the shade, I want to say the shade is called Vanita. I got this beautiful thing as a present from Mia recently, and I think it's going to make the perfect base for applying the purple shade on my lower lash line. I'm going to take this shade again and apply it on my lower lash line over top of the purple pencil. And here you guys have a close-up of the final look in broad daylight. Let me try to shine my artificial light here from my phone, just so you can see the sparkles a little bit. Do you see how pretty that is? Super sparkly, I love it. And this, you guys, is the final first look that I created with the Ritualistic Rose Blitz Astral Quad. I'm really happy with the result. I feel like it turned out really beautiful, really feminine. I will definitely have a lot of fun with this palette, and I'm really happy to have it in my collection and be able to experiment with these sort of tones a bit more, because I do feel like they really flatter my eye color quite a bit. And just to quickly let you know, I wanted to sort of match what was going on my eyes also on my lips, so the look turned out quite monochromatic, but I really love it. The lipstick that I have on is sort of like a cool toned, like rosy pink color, and that is the shade Hideaway from Urban Decay, which looks like this. It is in their Comfort Matte formula. Really gorgeous lipstick. I really love it. It's the kind of lipstick that doesn't like always flatter me because it has very cool tones to it, but I think with this look it works beautifully. I love how this look turned out. I'm so sorry, guys. I thought I had pressed on the play button, and unfortunately I had not. So I have kind of already started. I'm not very far with the eyeshadows. For today's look, I really want to focus on the bronze shade and the gold shade because I didn't really get to use them very prominently in my first look. First thing that I already kind of did is I applied the bronzy shade just with a fluffy blending brush through my crease, and I was just saying that you should start lightly, because even though it is a lighter shade in tone compared to the one in Iconic Illumination, for instance, these eyeshadows are still very pigmented, so it's always much easier to deposit a little bit and work in smaller increments when you blend the shadow out than put down too much and then have to blend longer. These eyeshadows still blend out very easily, so it's not like you're going to be busy blending forever, but you know, why make your life more difficult when there's no need for that? Alright, next I'm going to go back into that bronzy shade, and I'm just going to apply it like this with my finger onto half of my lid. I'm not even going to apply it over the glitter glue because it seems to be applying really nicely without it too. Then I'm going to take my flat shader brush from M-Brush, and I am going to go into the gold shade first with the brush, because this part here of my eye, the inner corner, will be difficult with my finger. I can do it, but I'd rather not. So I'm going to apply the shade there, just like this with the brush, and also take it onto the lid. And now I'm going to insert my finger into the process, and I'm going to apply the gold shade onto my lid with my finger, because that will definitely deposit much more impactful color. I'm actually curious to see how this color looks like when I wet my brush, so I'm going to take a little bit on the brush. I'm going to spritz with Fix Plus, and I'm going to paint that on here in the inner corner and onto the lid. It does make it look a bit more metallic, but it's not like it intensifies it a whole ton. And I'm going to take the tiniest amount of Pixie Epoxy, which is a glitter glue from a indie brand called Firini, like this, and I'm going to apply that just in the center of the lid right here, because I want to put one of the topper shades there, and I think it's a shade that really benefits from having glitter glue on. So now I'm going to take my finger and take the pinky gold duo, and I'm going to stamp that onto the center of my lids, like so. So I want to wing a soft brown liner, and for that I'm going to use my ABH brow pomade in this shade Ebony, which I've had forever, and mine is already looking pretty old and dry, of course. So I'm going to drop a bit of Duraline in there, just like this. One droplet is probably more than sufficient to give me enough product to wing a liner. On my lower lash line, I still want to incorporate this shade here, the purpley shade, because it is so beautiful, but this time around I wanted to preserve its like lighter tones, so I'm going to put down something that has closer tones to it, and I'm going to use this Kiko Long Lasting eyeshadow stick in the number 36, which is like a very light lavender purple sort of color, which I think would look very nice with this look. I'm going to take a small pencil brush and I'm going to go into this shade and basically apply that over the cream eyeshadow stick base. And this is the second and final look with the Blitz Astral Quad in Ritualistic Rose that I'm going to do for you for this video. My crazy hair and all included. I'm sorry, I just washed it yesterday and I went to bed, and whenever I go to bed with wet hair, my hair always like looks really like a poodle explosion. I just wanted to let you know very quickly that on my lips I am wearing the H&M cream lipstick in the shade Brunette Ambition, which is this beautiful sort of muted darkish mauve brown color. If I haven't said this before, I love the cream lipstick formula of H&M. I think they're so fantastic, they're so comfortable on the lips, they look so plush and luscious, and they're not the most long-lasting ones, and if you have a brighter color, I'm sure that if you're like me and lipsticks bleed on you, then this is going to bleed on you, the formula of this lipstick. But if you have more neutral colors, I'm sure you're going to love them because they look absolutely beautiful on the lips. One thing I would warn you for, if you don't like scented lipsticks, this one is scented vanilla pretty heavily. I personally really like that, but if you don't, keep it in mind. And now, before I give you my final thoughts on this palette, I just wanted to give you a few comparison swatches of a few of the shades in this palette versus other Pat McGrath palettes, and I want to provide you with a dupe for this shade over here, which is not from Pat McGrath, because I don't think there's any other shade in her collection that looks even remotely like this one. So this is the pink gold duochrome. My first thought when I saw this gold shade over here is, oh, this looks a lot like Jubilee from the Midnight Sun palette, which is her latest Mothership installment palette, and I swatched them side by side and they are not exactly the same, but they are pretty similar. So on this side here you have Jubilee, and next to it you have the gold shade from Ritualistic Rose. You can see that the Ritualistic Rose shade is just a little bit brighter, but the tones are quite similar. So on the eyes, I don't think you're going to see much of a difference. So unfortunately, these two shades are quite alike. For the purple shade over here, a dupe that I could think of was Night Creature from her Subversive 2 palette. So I did swatch them side by side. They are not the same, but they are similar-ish. So on this side over here you have Night Creature, which is, I don't know, it's a much deeper purple and a much brighter purple. And on this side here you have the shade from Ritualistic Rose, which it has a little bit like a bronzy base duochrome going on to it. I don't know whether that's coming across on camera. So these two shades are similar but different enough for me to say that you are actually getting quite a different shade in the Ritualistic Rose Quad. For the dupe, for this shade over here that I was mentioning earlier, when I saw this shade I immediately thought of an eyeshadow that I have from Luxie Beauty, and that is the shade Dollface. Dollface is essentially a pink with very intense gold sparkle to it. So on top here you have Dollface from Luxie Beauty, and underneath it you have the pink gold duo from the Ritualistic Rose Quad. They are quite similar. I think the Dollface shade even has a stronger base color to it, so like the pink shade that is used as a base is much stronger in tone compared to the one from Ritualistic Rose. I think the Ritualistic Rose has a much subtler pink tone to it and quite an intense gold shift. They are quite similar though, so if you were someone who was lusting after that particular shade from the quad, and this shade from Luxy Beauty is still available, then go ahead and take Dollface, because Dollface will cost you $5 and it will essentially provide you with the same effect. Now I am going to say this, Dollface is of course a different formula, it's quite a flaky shade and you are going to have to use glitter glue with it, because otherwise it's going to be very difficult for you to work with. But with that being said, if you wear it or use glitter glue, you're essentially going to achieve the same effect. So if that duochrome shade was the one that you were after in the Ritualistic Quad, just go ahead and check out Luxy Beauty. Now I just wanted to give you quickly a couple of my final thoughts on the Ritualistic Quad from Pat McGrath. I do really love this quad and I think it's probably the most unique in terms of a color story from all the quads that were released. I think Iconic Illumination is quite samey to colors that she already has in her lineup, but it is a very beautiful, very safe eyeshadow palette to go for, especially with people that prefer to have more subdued, more day-appropriate looks. I do really like Iconic Illumination. I think it has its time and place in everyone's collection. This quad, on the other hand, I think is going to be especially for people who want to have a little bit of more of the Pat McGrath topper experience, but they don't want to go too crazy with the colors, because the color story here is like very ethereal, very feminine, very, I don't know, it makes me feel very girly when I wear these eyeshadows. Especially yesterday's look that I was wearing with this shadow on my lid. I really felt so beautiful and classy the whole day just because I was wearing this eyeshadow. And I do still think that this is the quad with the most unique color story in her whole lineup of like the Blitz Astral Quads, because as much as I expect to love, sorry, my phone is going crazy, as much as I love, probably am going to love Nocturnal Nirvana, so the purple, blue, green, for me that is not a groundbreaking color story, because I have tons of these types of colors. So I'm really excited about it because these are the kind of colors that I love to wear the most. But in terms of like what brings newness and uniqueness to my collection, Ritualistic Rose is definitely the quad that brings the most new factor in my collection. I really hope that that made sense to you and you understood the point that I was trying to bring across. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you picked up this quad and what you think about it. As usual, don't forget to like and subscribe. I hope we hang out again soon. And until then, I bid you a good day. Bye!